Morning, folks. Today's soap is brought to us from Black Ship Grooming. This one here is called Blackbeard, and decided to follow it up with the Captain's Choice Bay Rum. Thought the two would play well with each other. Bay Rum sent this more, in other words. And got it whipped up here in this bowl right here. I found at Marshall's. No, it's been a while since I mentioned it. You see the bottom there, it says it's made in Spain. It's what the inside of it looks like right there. And boy, I tell you, scent smells really nice. These swirl marks, I guess you might call them, you can actually feel those. And the same thing on the inside, you can feel that paint or a glaze, if you will. So it does have a certain amount of, I guess you might say, texture to it. Yeah, there we go. But the scent it really does smell pretty good. This particular brush I got a while back from Metalworks, and this one's got a, if I remember right, a whip dog knot, synthetic knot in it. Pretty nice. I kind of like it. It fits well in the hand. But boy, this scent, I can smell it all day long. Shaver of the day. It is equipped with a Personna blade. That's what the wrapper looks like right there. Kind of see. And it is in a 1956 model. This is a red tip, flare tip, Gillette super speed, if you will. It's in pretty decent shape. I mean, it's got some little bit of wear and tear. You can kind of tell right here. And if you look on the bottom, the camera might be able to pick it up. There's brassing on the bottom, but overall, it's in pretty decent shape considering how old it is. For me, it works rather well. I've already put a hot towel to the face this morning. I'm going to go ahead and wet the face and get started with the pre-shave cube from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. This one here is the ice cube, at least what's left of it. It is getting smaller. It's kind of like right along with the, in between the alum block that I've got that is getting somewhat smaller, as well as the witch hazel I've got that is a, that container is a 16-ounce container, and the amount of witch hazel I've got left is getting smaller. So it is getting to the point where at some point where I'm going to have to make a decision on what's going to be the next pre-shave routine, as well as the next alum block and witch hazel, which I've got some Thayers that I probably will be putting in a normal routine, even though it is flavored, but I think it'll be pretty nice to use. Got a few days worth of growth, as you can tell. Usually a daily shaver, but here late, waking up late and need to get busy with work, so no shave. And so now there is plenty of growth for this super speed to work with. Didn't take very long at all. For me, I don't mind the pre-shave soap. Like I say, it doesn't take very long for me to work it up. Helps prepare the face, the whiskers. It's for me, it works well. Guess you might say help with the preparation in conjunction with the hot towel to the face. The hot towel was probably the very first pre-shave routine for me that I noticed just made a world of difference. The hot towel just really does make a difference for me. A while back I had decided I'd give it a try, see if it does anything for me, and it made a huge difference. For me, what I do is I just, when I'm filling the sink with water, fill it up with the hot water, throw my little towel in there, apply it to the face for about 60 seconds, and that seems to work for me. Man, this scent is good. I wish I could say more about the scent. My nose is just, I can smell it, but as it goes for identifying anything in particular about it, my nose this morning is just not able to do that. Here the past few days, actually several days, we've had pretty warm weather here in Oklahoma. Always hitting right around the 100 degree mark. without the heat index. With the heat index, excuse me, I think we've gotten as high as 109, something like that. Hot is hot. At some point, it's kind of like 105, 109. You don't really notice the difference. It's still hot, either one. It just, it just gets too hot where you can discern the difference between 5 degrees. It's still hot. But we've got rain yesterday, which now has made a world of difference in the temperature, which we've needed the rain. We hadn't had enough of it of recent history. We got some a few days ago, but not enough to make enough of a difference. It did make some difference, but not enough. It still needed quite a bit of help, and it still does. Even with the light rain, it was kind of slow and steady. We did get a few storms, storm roll through where the had power outages. At our house, it flickered off and on, off and on, off and on, almost about that quick. It was, happened quite a bit, and then it finally steadied down out. We never actually lost it for any real length of time, but I know some other folks not too far from us, they did lose theirs for a moment. Our area usually does pretty good for some reason. It might flicker, it might go out for just a brief moment, but for an extended period of time, it doesn't seem like it happens very often. Well, that was with the first pass with the 1956 model red tip Gillette, equipped with a Personna blade. You can tell I didn't have any trouble with it. It does well. I like this razor. For me, I could use it for a daily razor, a daily shaver without a problem. As well as this one here is, I think the way that was advertised as heavy, and the next one without the paint on the knob, that is, I think they referred to it as normal or maybe average beard growth. That one also is a nice shaver. Just depending on what your I guess you might say what your needs are, what kind of blade feel you like. Because with this Personna blade, there is a little bit of a blade feel. It does feel a touch aggressive, but to me not overly aggressive with this blade. I think the blade will make a world of difference for some folks if you decide to pick up one of these. I think you can get one replated at Razor Emporium. I think right around, it's either $125 or $150. I can't remember which one it is. Not too terribly expensive. It depends on what it's been replated with, whether it's rhodium or whether it was with nickel. That does make a difference in the price. But tell you what though, those pictures, they sure do look good. This one here has not been replated. It's still the original plating. But it would be a good candidate to be done because, in other words, if you got the rhodium done, it should shine and look just fantastic. In other words, there's only so much they can do if you got a lot of flea biting or pitting on the doors, and there's none. In other words, this is to me, a really good candidate for it. On the underside, there's the brassing, but I don't see any real pitting or anything like that. Anything that, in other words, it should come out looking just like new. Probably the toughest part on any super speed is right up here. This portion right here, I think for sometimes, depending on how bad it is, whether it turns out looking fantastic or not. One thing for sure, no matter how bad it looks now, with the razor you're thinking about replating, it will look better. Will it look like new? Will I be able to make all those little imperfections go away? No. But it will look better. In other words, I guess you might say, have reasonable expectations. Just a little bit of feedback on the against the grain. For me, it's quick, easy. Don't have to think too much about this kind of shave. And if you're wondering, see if I can hold it in there. You can even see, there it is. Personna blade in there. And it does rinse out without, in other words, I can rinse the razor pretty well without having to take the blade out. But typically, if I'm going to use this, like again tomorrow or something like that, I'll gently wipe it on a towel and put it back in there. That's just my habit. Not everybody does that sort of thing. But for me, I prefer to wipe it gently on a towel, dry it off, ready for use the next day. I I don't just leave a blade in there without drying it off, especially if it's going to be in there over an extended period of time, because I don't like the rust. Even though these are stainless steel blades, they're corrosion resistant. That's the best way to put it. They're still going to rust if you're not careful with them. So if you're careful with wiping them, though, you'll be quite all right. I know a lot of times you'll see the little note on there telling you not to wipe them, and that's because, excuse me, not everybody is careful about that sort of thing, so you end up dulling the edge depending on what you're wiping it on. Really smooth shave this morning. Feels good. I mean, I tell you, it's no matter if it's just a day's worth of growth or if you got 2 or 3 days worth of growth, this shaver works well for me, especially set up with this particular blade. Personna blades work well for me. I know they don't appeal to everybody, but for me they sure do. Here's the alum block I was talking about. Just a little bit left. No rubber band this morning. I'm going to have to change directions here pretty soon. Alright, I got a little bit of stinging right there on my neck. A little bit right there. But overall, pretty nice shave. Now, there's been discussion, and it's been a while since I've seen a whole lot of anybody really just get to talk about it, is when I put this alum block back in the container, I just do a quick wipe on my t-shirt real quick, the part where I was working on my face, and I pop it right back in there, close it up. Now, for some people, for some folks, the alum block is just soaking wet, so they need to allow it to dry so that the alum block just doesn't deteriorate on you. For me, mine's not soaking wet, so like I say, just a quick wipe on the shirt, pop it right back in there. This is the second alum block I've treated that way, and haven't had any trouble out of it. Works just fine for me. I know for some other folks with a dripping wet, you might want to let it air out a bit more than what I do. Here it is, witch hazel. And like I say, it is getting a little bit lower. At some point in time, like I say, it'll get to that point where I'll end up having to go ahead and pick a new bottle. I mentioned it before, this is an unscented version of Humphreys, even though it has a naturally occurring scent. For me, for my nose, it only lasts for just a few seconds. Shortly thereafter, it's gone. I don't notice it anymore. Your nose might be a lot different. Here we go. Here's the Captain's Choice Bay Rum. That's what the restrictor looks like there. I got links down below if you're interested in checking some of this stuff out. I could Bay Rum. I could use Bay Rum scented products for an extended period of time. I really do like Bay Rum. So you don't see much of it. It's because I get hooked on it, and you'll have several shaves with Bay Rum scented products. I try not to do that. But boy, this Bay Rum really does smell good. Like I say, I think the two play well together. At least per my nose, it does. Just a fantastic shave today. Day being Thursday, A lot cooler this morning and cooler weather for the rest of this week. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay healthy, stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.